And we are live. So, welcome to An American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf. Happy Independence Day, America. Today is the 4th of July, and it's a great time to celebrate our country itself. It's always a tough day for America. It's not easy, but I think we're going to get through these tough times that we're in right now. And hey, don't be surprised if down the road there are more tough times after this. That's just life. It's the way things work. You got to keep the faith and believe. And I think we're going to be okay, God willing. So happy Independence Day to all of you. And I hope you're having a great day and you get to see some family, have a little barbecue and some food. Maybe, hang out and watch a cool movie or two. That's always a good way to spend your July 4th as you head back probably into work tomorrow. So there's always that. So something interesting came up yesterday while I was making my video for the X-Files reboot, and fuck that. That's my official stance on Ryan Coogler's potential X-Files reboot. I started looking at other remakes and reboots that are possibly in the pipeline from Hollywood. Hollywood's struggling a lot right now, but that's another conversation. I wanted to look at these sequels and reboots and, so on and so forth. And I listed over 70 in the first couple of minutes of that stream. But then there was another one that popped up, and I wanted to get into that. And it said all upcoming movie remakes 2018 to 2022. And I'm not going to go through them all, but we had All Quiet on the Western Front, Star is Born, Pet Sematary, The Crow, The Orphanage. And then I came to this. And this is dated 1st of January, 2021. So, sort of in the COVID pipeline, so to speak, An American Werewolf in London. And it says Max Landis, writers John and Max, as she travels through the UK with her boyfriend, Alex is bitten by a werewolf in this remake of the 1981 classic. Now, Alex is the nurse from the first movie. And she's played by Jenny Agutter. She's the nurse who cares for David, ultimately discovering that he has become a werewolf. After they start to care for each other, they move into an apartment or something for each other, with each other, and, little relationship blossoms. And it's a horror comedy, so, you don't get terribly invested, but she is a character in the original. Hold on a second. We've got a comment here. We've got Eric. Hey, Internet Eric here. What's happening, man? Saying good morning, man. Happy 4th and happy Lex Luger Day. That's exactly right. Lex Luger saved America 30 years ago. Was it 20 or 30 years ago by slamming Yokozuna, USA. Got my flag going all right there back behind me. God bless America. And it says, I haven't read that this remake was being considered. Now that you've mentioned Max Landis, it rings a bell. He was always in too much trouble. If it happens, he definitely won't be involved. Yeah, so there is some controversy about that in terms of Max Landis. And let's get into some of that, because I did some cursory sort of investigation. And this is because there's not a great deal of information out there. And so where we look at American Werewolf in London Wikipedia page, we get to proposed remake. And it says in June 2009, it was announced that Dimension Films was working with producers Sean and Ryan First on a remake of the film. This has since been delayed due to other commitments. In August of 2016, several reports suggested that Max Landis, the son of the director John Landis, who directed the first film, was considering remaking. In 2016, November, Deadline Hollywood reported that Max Landis would write and direct a remake. In December 2017, Max Landis confirmed on Twitter that he had completed the first draft of the script. But beginning in late 2017, accusations by a number of women that Landis had abused them emotionally and sexually. So, this is the hot era of Me Too, began to emerge publicly. I don't know, if he did these things or not, but The accusations were flying all over the place back then. And it seems that several women came forward. But it is Hollywood, so, you never know who's telling the truth. In the wake of these allegations, it remains unknown if Landis will be replaced or if the project will be put on indefinite hold. In November 2019, Variety reported that Robert Kirkman, creator of the Walking Dead comic book series, was in consideration to serve as a producer for a new reboot of An American Werewolf in London. So, I mean, that's 2019 with Kirkman. They're also, I just showed you where it says that 2021 in development. That's the status. And then I found a couple of articles here, August. Yeah, okay. So let's take a look at some of these because there's a couple of these. And let's share. Look, Max Landis. Max Landis, American Werewolf in London remake isn't happening. So this is at the peak of the accusation, time frame for him. I think it's safe to say that all of us are aware that director John Landis' son and Chronicle screenwriter, and I love Chronicle, that's a great fucking film, Max Landis had a remake of his father's horror comedy, An American Werewolf in London, in the works. Now, I think this whole thing is unnecessary. An American Werewolf in London is probably the GOAT of werewolf movies. On the other hand, it's a horror comedy. If you're just going to remake another horror comedy, then I don't see the point in this. I'm not a fan of this going forward. Well, maybe had is the better term at this point in time, as today we're hearing that the remake is probably dead as a doornail. The update comes to us from our buddies over at Screen Rant, who are shills to the core, who really don't give any rock-solid reason why the flick might not happen, but their theories sure are sound, mostly that after hearing quite a few disturbing accusations thrown at Landis, no one wants to work with him. Makes sense. Of course, we'll make sure to keep up to date on the possible remake and pass along any updates as they come in. But until then, are you sad to hear that Max Landis' An American Werewolf in London remake probably isn't happening? Of course you aren't. And it just goes on to, basically talk about what the original film was about. Yeah, I'm not heartbroken about this. I think the whole thing is unnecessary. But then we come into yet another article, which came out after this last one. So I'm trying to do these so they're chronologically correct. And that was in, I think, July of 2019. This is in November of 2019. Now, bear in mind that about 5 months after or 4 months after this article that I'm about to read from movieweb.com, after this was printed or published, we hit COVID. So Hollywood still has not recovered from COVID and a number of big blockbuster losses. On the other hand, Hollywood or horror, Hollywood horror, such as it is, makes movies that are relatively inexpensive. So you don't need hundreds of millions of dollars to make a werewolf movie. And horror has had a bit of a resurgence. This is kind of a good time. In many cases, there's some quality stuff going out. There's still always the crap because ultimately, I think the horror community fans gravitate towards the trash because largely many people in the horror community will almost consume anything. But this is not outside the realm of possibility. And of course, something unnecessary with Hollywood almost always seems to go forward. So it says An American Werewolf in London reboot possibly happening with the Walking Dead creator. Robert Kirkman is maybe producing a reboot of Animal House, blah, 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 blah. Well, it looks like you can't keep a good wolf down as today. Now, granted, these are 4-year articles that are almost 4 years old, but I'm holding on to IMDb, which is from 2021, saying that this is pre-production. In development, excuse me. It says it's in development. So as of 2 years ago, this was in development. And horror sort of moving forward right now with these low budget successes. So I'm just speculating. Is this possible? Is it a good thing? Do people want it? I'm not sure that they do, but we'll see. We have word that director John Landis's classic horror comedy, American Werewolf in London, is back on the remake reboot chopping block. This time, the man behind the planned reboot is none other than The Walking Dead and Outcast creator Robert Kirkman. This is the latest news we've received. This would actually be interesting as a series. You can actually do quite a bit of this with a series, some sort of streaming series, like a limited run series. That would be interesting. And, maybe, just maybe, we'd get lucky enough to have someone who wouldn't turn it into a comedy, because unfortunately, that's the route that so many werewolf movies go. They end up becoming comedies. This is the latest news we've received about a remake reboot of An American Werewolf in London. If you remember, Max Landis was writing the reboot based on John's famous film, but after Max Landis was accused of sexual misconduct, the project quietly seems to have died behind the scenes. This update regarding The Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman's involvement with rebooting a classic Universal monster comes on the heels of his involvement with Rocket Man director Dexter Fletcher's upcoming standalone Renfield movie. This is why, this is grabbing me, because Renfield just dropped. I still haven't seen it yet. I got to get to it. Because I have Peacock, and I think it's on Peacock now. I didn't go to the theaters to see it. From Rick and Mortar writer Ryan Ridley. I guess that finally gives us some insight into why Kirkman ended his infamously long-running Walking Dead comic book series, seemingly out of the blue. He's now being pursued as a major Hollywood producer, and fair enough. I've heard good things about Renfield, that it's just a fun movie to watch. And speaking of classic Universal monsters getting the reboot treatment, maybe Universal's planned dark universe isn't as dead as we were all led to believe. After all, it's not just this reboot of An American Werewolf or that standalone Renfield movie in the works. Let's not forget we also have Blumhouse and Upgrade and Insidious Chapter 3, writer-director Lee Whannell's upcoming reboot of The Invisible Man, starring Elizabeth Moss, coming our way soon as well. Now, I don't know about you, but all this seems to be adding up to a newly refurbished and lower budget reworking of the abandoned dark universe in my eyes. And truth be told, it's already sounding much more promising than what Universal had planned some 2 odd years back, with stars such as Angelina Jolie, Javier Bardem, and Johnny Depp. For those out there that may not have had the pleasure yet in life, John Landis's American Werewolf in London was penned by the Blues Brothers and Spies Like Us filmmaker back when he was only 19. It centers on 2 American students who are attacked by a werewolf while on a backpacking holiday in England. One of them kicks the bucket in bloody and brutal fashion, while the other, well, I think you might be able to guess what happens to the other when the full moon rises over the city of London. And then it goes into the casting. We'll let you know as soon as we hear more on this planned reboot of Landis's An American Werewolf in London from Robert Kirkman. But in the meantime, this story comes to us via Variety. And that's kind of where I'm at with things. I'm not really a fan of this idea, but it sounds like it might happen, or, in development. In development. IMDb says in development. It hasn't been updated in 2 years. I don't know if Landis, is interested. I guess we'll have to see. Hold on a second. Okay, we got to that. And then says Max may be able to save his career. We'll see. If his dad was able to be successful after what happened to Vic Morrow. Yeah. And the children during the Twilight Zone tragedy. Yeah, because Landis hired child labor, wasn't it? And he ignored like a lot of safety laws that ended up getting people killed in that Twilight Zone movie. And he was heavily criticized at the time. But his career, I don't know so much that it had a resurgence or anything like that, but, he wasn't, cast off into oblivion because of that. So it's Hollywood, they're They're all fucked up in there together. You know, we've talked about this many times that artists are just fucked up people. So, they kind of look after their own. And so imagine putting an entire city of artists together. You're going to have some fucked up shit going on in there. And he says, I'm surprised The Creature from the Black Lagoon hasn't been remade. That could be good, especially with an updated creature design. Hold on a second, because I could take a quick minute and go through, let's see. Yeah, here we go. So let's look at some of these potential remakes that may be coming our way. Let's take a look. Okay, so we got The Orphanage, An American Werewolf, Dirty Dancing, 2026, Drop Dead Fred, Fletch 1, Starship Troopers, that's been announced. War Games with the old Matthew Broderick, which actually, I don't know how well they would do that these days. Time Bandits, post-production from the 81 Terry Gilliam film. Akira, American Psycho, I haven't heard anything about that. And that says 2020. The Birds, announced. Commando, announced. Creature from the Black Lagoon, announced. Death Wish, they did that with Bruce Willis. I saw it once, and it was in India, and the censors, they actually censor movies over there it's a really random and arbitrary sort of censorship policy. I said I would watch it again, and I never got around to it. Escape from New York, pre-production. This is 2021. So with all the money that Hollywood is bleeding, a lot of these things may just quietly be shelved. Heavy Metal, Highlander. And I heard a lot of people were saying Henry Cavill is going to be Duncan MacLeod. My Fair Lady, Romancing the Stone, Scarface. A lot of these just announced. Short Circuit. These will probably never come to light. The Bodyguard, The Phantom Toll Booth, The Wild Bunch, Flight of the Navigator, Videodrome, Weird Science, The Toxic Avenger, Gremlins 3, The Stooge, Van Helsing. Again, all these announced. All of Me, American Son, The Black Hole, Bloodsport. I mean, Jacob's Ladder, that tanked. Logan's Run, Mortal Kombat, that was shitty. Police Academy, Rebecca, Suspiria. I mean, all these movies that they're listing, I don't really have any interest in seeing again. Every once in a while, you get one like the Suspiria remake, though, that I think is actually greater than the original because I hate Argento movies. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Time Crimes, Time Cop, Tomb Raider, Phoebe Waller-Cates, who just tanked the Indiana Jones film, is going to be apparently playing Lara Croft. And that's going to be interesting because Lara Croft has a heavy sexual influence. I mean, one of her big powers is the ability to seduce. I don't see that happening with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but okay. Young Sherlock Holmes, Overboard. You get the point. You get the point. There are a lot of these things potentially coming our way. I really like Death Wish. Yeah, what I remember of it, I did like to. Henry Cavill would be perfect for Duncan MacLeod. I don't know that it needs to happen at all, but yeah, I mean, I got no beef with Henry Cavill. Obviously, I'm a big, Snyderverse fan. So that's my video. What do you think? Do you want a remake of An American Werewolf in London? Do you think it's a good idea? Would you like to see it as a streaming series? Let me know what you think. Like this video, leave a comment. My thanks to Eric for stopping in. Happy 4th of July. I might be back later because I'm a little late on my streaming schedule for the week with it being a holiday weekend. So I might be back later on today. I haven't decided yet. But if I don't see you, happy 4th of July. God bless America. God bless all of you. And I'll talk to you later.